In the 2 years since rioters stormed the Capitol on January 6th, nearly 1,000 people have been charged with crimes. Many of them were identified by amateur investigators who ran photographs through a new facial recognition software called PimEyes. PimEyes is vastly more powerful than other types of image search, and it's available to anyone. It uses machine learning to match a photo to one of the estimated 2 billion faces it's indexed, even pictures taken years earlier. Facial recognition websites have also been used to identify suspected war criminals. Journalists use them too, like I've used them to identify sources. But what people don't realize is that even if you haven't been accused of anything, this technology impacts you. It could fundamentally change the nature of privacy in public space. For Cher Scarlett, the technology has made public a trauma she'd repressed. When she was 19, Scarlett was coerced into performing sex acts on camera. For years, she blocked out the memory, until she found photos of herself on PimEyes. Was it the first time that you had seen these images was on PimEyes?
Yes. So I knew that this thing happened, but it wasn't until I saw them on PimEyes that I knew every object that had been used or everything that happened to me. And so, it's kind of one of those things where, yes, I felt violated again, like it happened again.
Where are the images now?
What if I get one from when I was 19? It'll pop up.
Are you bracing yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. This is the picture that I first saw that I was like, what is this? X pics. This is, yeah. Sorry. I literally just thought, like, who would Photoshop my face into a deep fake pornography? And within probably 5 minutes, it dawned on me that this was the thing that I had mentally erased.
What has been the effect on you to have these images easily findable by anyone?
It has been a new source of harassment. And I'm sure, my talking about it has made it worse, but there's no way for me to reconcile not talking about like truly the most, terrible possible thing that this website can do without putting myself out there like that. There's nothing I can do about them being on the internet at this point, but like maybe I can stop software from like operating in this way.
Scarlett has good reason to be concerned. PimEyes has become a major destination for trolls. There are hundreds of threads like this on 4chan, which is an online message board that attracts like reactionary trolls, where guys try to crowdsource the identities of women that they know or online models in order to dox and harass them. It's really popular to post threads asking other users to use their pro PimEyes accounts to find pictures of women. From just a couple days ago, this person is saying, anyone got PimEyes? Trying to see what this whore has out there. I'm pretty sure that this person has no idea that someone who knows her is soliciting nude photos of her on 4chan. Actually, looks like it worked. Fuck. They're calling it a win, which I think means that they were able to find explicit photos of that person. I wanted to know why someone would do this, and I actually found a thread where someone explains themselves. We hired a voice actor to read it.
I enjoy doxing girls for fun. Ask me anything. I'll find a nude I really like, and she becomes a target until I find her. PimEyes works at restaurants, concerts, and corporate websites. I've found girls through a clothes-selling website, others who attended concerts and were mentioned in captions of pictures. If I find a nude of a girl with a face, I'll run it through PimEyes, and usually I'll find a picture of them that leads to their identity. I don't even get off to the nudes. I get off knowing I've hurt them and made their lives harder.
PimEyes does offer ways to hide images you don't want found, both through a free option and a more comprehensive service that will try to remove images from the internet entirely. It costs between $40 and $300 a month. What do you think of that business model?
It feels like extortion. Like the only reason I need to hide these images is because of your software. I shouldn't have to pay to hide them because of your software. Like you're the one who's creating the problem.
And then they sell the remedy.
Exactly.
PimEyes was launched in 2017 by two software developers from Poland. Today, it's run by a cybersecurity academic named Georgi Gobernidze. For his day job, Gobernidze studies violent extremism. He sold his beach house and mortgaged his and his brother's apartments in order to buy the company.
At this moment, I think that PimEyes is one of the best tools for just ordinary people to know about their online presence, because there are cases when pictures of people are simply used without their knowledge or consent, and they need a tool somehow to find it.
When I research PimEyes online, the majority of people I see are trying to dox adult models or use it for stalking.
I can actually say the opposite side of PimEyes as well, because we have porn actresses, our clients. We perform takedowns for these people as well.
Is this service a remedy for a problem PimEyes created? Which is the problem of having your face be identified with images that you do not want to be found?
So I don't think that PimEyes has created the problem, first of all, but PimEyes offered solution.
But doesn't PimEyes exacerbate the problem of stalking, even if it didn't create it?
I don't think so, because PimEyes is a tool which search for websites, and tool needs to be used with responsibility. Because if someone is performing stalking, it's not a search engine that performs stalking. It's a person that decided to do it.
But it's a new type of search engine that most people, when they put their images on the internet, didn't think that would ever exist, right? It's a search engine for faces. Isn't that fundamentally different from something like Facebook or Google?
Yes, it's different. So why not? That's, I think, the pretty interesting stuff, because it was time for this kind of thing to appear. One of our purpose to make this public, actually, was it to make the technology accessible for ordinary users as well, because facial recognition technology already exists. It is used by governments, it is used by banks. Why not ordinary people should have accessibility to this kind of technology? When this kind of technology is only locked in the hands of a narrow circle, that simply can lead us to tyranny.
The company says it's so far helped take down more than 20,000 images, mostly revenge porn. But PimEyes is also under investigation by a German regulator for potential privacy violations. In the US, there are no federal laws restricting facial recognition. Instead, questions of privacy have typically fallen to the Federal Trade Commission, which is still trying to figure out what rules it can put in place.
So what I think a lot of people don't realize is that facial recognition fundamentally changes the way people are tracked. It used to be that you could just be a face in the crowd. We are fast approaching a world where that is not possible.
Is this a case where the technology has just far outpaced our ability to regulate it?
I'm optimistic about the ability to put common sense limits on this technology for private citizens to use it. We're not there yet. Unfortunately, there is no permission slip for technology in our country. If someone develops the technology, they can deploy it. And so I do think it makes sense to step back and say, do I want anyone to be able to identify me? Whether or not they are law enforcement, a private citizen, a company I've heard of, a company I've never heard of, that's a question that needs to be asked. And I'm afraid that we're not asking it.
Do you think there are any benefits of pervasive, publicly accessible face recognition?
I think there are benefits to private use. It was useful to be able to open my phone with my face. Now, I think that's very different than anyone on the street anywhere being able to identify me by clicking camera.
Cher Scarlett is still trying to hide her images on PimEyes using their free opt-out service. But so far, it hasn't worked. Do you think that the people here realize that any photo they appear in could be used to identify them on the internet?
Absolutely not. There's no way.
Do you think that will change the way people interact with public space?
Yeah, I do. It's changed the way, that I interact in the public space. You don't realize how violating it feels to have somebody tell you where you've been or what you've been doing. Privacy is a human right, and that's why it should be protected, regardless of whether or not you're doing anything wrong.
I'm Michael Learmonth, editor-in-chief of Vice News. Too often, traditional news outlets shy away from the real stories and experiences of those living through global conflicts. Not Vice News. Our reporters are on the ground, fearlessly covering the human stories that shape our world. You and millions of others can continue to read, watch, and listen to Vice News for free. But we hope you'll consider making a one-time or ongoing contribution of any size at vice.com/contribute. Every contribution, no matter how big or small, helps support the journalism Vice News brings to you every day. Thank you.